systems. Economic systems. So the economic systems is talking about the various ways by which resources are owned and controlled in the state. It's talking about ownership and control. And this learning objective, we are going to look at the introduction to this particular issue. We are going to look at the functions and the various types, as well as advantages and disadvantages of each. The introduction to economic systems can say that it is talking about ownership and control. Who owns and controls resources? In other words, we can say that the economic system refers to the way in which available productive resources in the state or nation are owned, managed, or utilized for the satisfaction of human needs. What we are talking about is that productive resources, they are resources that are used in production. So any resource that can be used in production is what we refer to it as productive resources. And how those resources are owned, who own them, manage, who manage them, or utilize, who utilize them in an economy, is what we are referring to it as the economic system. So the question is, who owns the resources in your country or in the state? Who manage them? Who utilize them? The answer to this will tell us which system of economies you are practicing in the state. Is it owned, managed, and controlled by a private person? Then we call it a capitalism or a capitalist economy, or a free enterprise or a free market economy. Is it owned by the state? Then we call it a socialist or socialism or a centrally planned economy. Is it owned by both private individuals and the state? Then we call it a mixed economy system. So let's go ahead and look at the functions of these economic systems. In other words, we are talking about the one who control and own resources, the function that person performs. So the first one is allocation of resources. They decide on where resources should go. And resources here, we are talking about productive resources. So every economy has to decide what and how much goods and services to produce at any given period of time. So the type of goods you produce and how much of it will produce will determine the amount of resources that will be allocated to that particular production unit. That decision of where resources should go and what they are used for is a function of the owner and the controller of the resource, which takes its root from the economic system. Then we have organization of production, where production is organized. So every economic system must decide what alternative techniques of production are more suitable for it. So when you want to enter into a production process, you don't just choose one production process. You look out for alternatives, and then among the alternatives or the options, you select the one that will be suitable for the particular production process that you want to engage yourself in. Then distribution of goods and services, how the goods get to the final consumer. Remember, production is not complete until you get to the final consumer, which means that goods are produced for someone to consume. So until that goods are consumed, the aim or the objective of production is not achieved. So how the goods and services can be transported from the production plant to the final consumer is also a distribution function, which is made by the economic system. Then economic growth and development. The mechanism to grow the economy and raise average living standard is determined in each economy. So it's the function of the one who owns and controls resources to help in the living standard of people in the economy. Then economic stability. Every economic system has mechanisms designed to control fluctuations in the level of economic activity. So the rising and falling of the level of economic activity in an economy can be controlled by the economic system using fiscal and monetary policy. We'll talk about this in details when we are dealing with the topic under money or any topic related to fiscal and monetary policy. Great. So we can introduce ourselves to the first type of economic system. We refer to it as capitalism, or sometimes you see capitalism. It can be free enterprise economy or free market economy. And it is free because resources are owned and controlled by private individuals. So this type of production or this type of economic systems is the one which ownership and control is by private individuals. Private individuals own and control what? Resources. A country which practices capitalism could be said to have a market economy, a laissez-faire economy, an uncontrolled economy, a free enterprise, or a capitalist economy. All these terms are used to describe the capitalist economy. So example of such countries include United States of America. We talk about Japan, Australia, France, Italy. All these are countries that practice a free market economy or a capitalist economy, which means that resources are owned and controlled by private individuals. Some of the features of this is that private ownership of properties with minimal participation by the state, which means that though the state may involve in ownership, but private ownership will proceed or supersede the state ownership, which means that a larger number of private individuals own resources as compared to the state ownership. Then there is existence of competition because it's private ownership. All private individuals are competing to get the best out of the resource that they are putting in the production process. Then maximization of profit. Their motives is to make profits. Every private individual or investor is its aim or their aim is to make profit. So in this system, you see that the main idea is profit maximization. The individual satisfaction. Then capitalism enables an individual to embark on actions for the least satisfaction that will give him greatest amount of satisfaction. So what they are doing here is that private individuals engage themselves in economic activities that will give them satisfaction and also will give satisfaction to the consumer. So their aim is to satisfy human want. Then other features are that free market enterprise. It allows individuals the freedom to choose their occupation based on their capabilities. So you can decide to manufacture anything at all that you want in this system of economy based on your capability. If you have the capacity to do so, you are not restricted by any form of regulation. Then production and consumption are regulated by price mechanism. The price mechanism determines what resources have to produce, producers have to produce, taking into consideration the demand of consumers and the price offered by the goods. So where demand and supply meet to fixed market, it is in the free market economy. And then the production and how these goods are consumed are regulated by the price system. Then accumulation of wealth. Private individuals end up accumulating excessive wealth because they own resource, they put it to work. Then individuals are free to initiate their own kind of production of commodities that give them satisfaction and profit. So you can decide on which type of goods to produce, and then no one can restrict you because you own resource, you control them. So some of the advantages are that it's a free market enterprise, which means that it encourages maximum freedom of enterprise. People are not forced into a system. They are not forced to do a particular thing. They are allowed to engage themselves in any form at all that they want. Then in the capitalism, people are free to own properties, and this encourages hard work. So at the end of the day, whatever money comes out of it, it is the private individual that uses that money to acquire properties for themselves. So it encourages them to work hard, which is towards their own benefit. Then capitalism also boosts specialization due to increase and large scale production of commodities. So specialization here talking about individuals being expert in the choosing field. So the private person deciding on a particular production process will help them